If you've clicked this video, then congratulations, you're in the market for a used Tesla. Now, luckily for you, I've just been through this process and I've just bought myself a Model 3. And I know all of the problems that you go through, all of the screens that I needed to check, and I'm going to share that with you today so that you can walk away from this video knowing every little detail about what you need to check, the screens you're going to need to look at, and the best things that you can do to walk out of that dealer with the best value for money. So make sure you watch until the end because every bit of this video has sections and each section has some really useful information that's going to help you on your buying journey. Firstly, the biggest thing that you should immediately do is the most obvious. Have a look around the car, check for any damage and check the tyres, because these are the big things that you can ask a used dealership to fix if there's any issues that you can immediately see. Any scuff marks, any problems that you notice to do with the paintwork or to do with scratches or dents or damages, these need to be addressed early. It could be an indication of category damage or something worse, so you want to have a look at that nice and early. Once you've got past this step, you can then start looking at some of the other things. So let's take these in order. The next most important thing is most likely checking the mileage and the battery condition. Now, the battery condition is arguably one of the most important things to check when having one of these cars, because if it's in quite a sorry state, you're not going to want to take the car away, and most of the time the dealer should provide you with a battery health report. Now, you can go into the settings and have a look for the battery health report, and there's ways you can look at this. A quick example of this is to go down to the car icon down here, go to service, scroll down to the bottom and click battery health. Now you should get this here. Now this isn't everything and this doesn't necessarily mean that the battery's perfect, but it's a good indication that it's in a good enough state at the moment. Having this showing that your battery is healthy is just one step in a multi-part program that you need to be doing to make sure that you're getting a good quality Tesla. Now, this is a great thing to have, but this doesn't automatically mean you should buy. Now, depending on the age of your car, you want to have a different strategy for what your battery percentage should be. Personally, I would like it to be over 90% if I was going to purchase, unless you're buying a really high mileage car and you don't mind a lower battery percentage. But after a certain year of ownership, I think it's within 7 or 8, it depends on if you've got a long range or a standard range, you're no longer covered under the Tesla warranty. So the battery sort of health is quite important. So for me, once you've done this check, you want to also ask for an official battery health report, which they should know about. And every car dealer, even if they're messing you around, will do one for you if you persist. So make sure you ask for one. Get a battery health report, and whatever that percentage is, you can use to negotiate the car. So if they want too much money for it, or if there's nobody offering an additional, value for the car, you can go in and say, this is a battery health report that's under the spec that it should be. I want to have this car for slightly less money. So that's a negotiation tactic. Or if it's under a level that you're not happy with, just walk away, because this is the most important thing on the car. If the battery goes and it's out of warranty, you're in for a big bill, and nobody wants that. So once you've got yourself a battery health report and you've been onto the car and checked that the battery health is okay within the settings, that's a pretty good indication that you have a solid idea now of what the battery health is of the car. But if you can't get hold of a battery health report, my honest advice is you either need to walk away or you need to push harder, because it's so important to get that battery health report. Because if you buy a car with 100,000 miles but the battery health is excellent, or in the high 90s, you're buying a car with a more solid battery structure than a car that's potentially been over supercharged, maybe has 40,000 miles but has 83%, It's a bit confusing to understand when you first start thinking about this, because when you're used to buying diesel and petrol cars, you're thinking lower miles equals always better, and that's not necessarily always the case. So what you need to be doing as well, as just a little bit of a guess, this is nowhere near accurate, but what you can do, you can divide the display range by the battery percentage and then times that by 100 to get a rough idea of where your battery health is. Now, I'm not going to claim this is accurate. This is just a very rough indication of where it could be, so take that with a pinch of salt. But it's a useful bit of knowledge to know if you only have a few minutes to look at a car, you've got a bit of information from the dealer and you're trying to figure out yourself, when you don't have all the information to hand, where roughly the battery percentage is. But the ways I've told you are way better, and you really, really need a battery health report. I can't tell you how important that is. So moving on, let's move on to the next stage. So next, from the home screen of the car, you want to come down here and you want to have a look at your software, because in here you can see the mileage of the car. So this car has 61,000 miles, and that needs to be accurate compared to what you've been told the car mileage is, because if that's not accurate, you're buying a car for more money than it might be worth, and obviously that's something we're trying to avoid here. Again, that's a great negotiation point if it's a few thousand miles more, or you know, if it's less, even better. So yeah, you can have a look in here, and this is where you can see a bit more about your specific car that you're going to purchase. So if you can see the full self-driving computer 3, you can look at additional driving vehicle information here. Now, this is where it gets a little bit technical, and you need to know what you're talking about, because depending on the year of car you're looking at, these will be different. Now for me, I have the AMD Ryzen chip, which is the processor within this car, so it's the CPU. Just like in a computer, you get a different CPU that might be more powerful, same as in a phone when you upgrade your iPhone. In this car, this is a more powerful CPU than the original Intel Atom CPU that they had, and there may well be better ones at this point, but the Ryzen from the 2020 year Model 3 onwards was the upgrade. So if you're looking for that, that is an important thing to look for within this settings here. On top of that, there's a few more bits that you're going to want to remember and you're going to want to know about, because for me, I have the heat pump. Now, before the heat pump, there was a less efficient way that they heated the car, and the heat pump is way better because every trip, if you're in the colder weather, it sort of saves you 20 to 30 miles if it's colder, because it's a more efficient method of doing things. As well as this, there's a few other things you can look at in here, which is the battery type. So I have the lithium ion and it's the phosphate, so this is an LFP battery. You might have a different kind of battery, and you're going to need to spend a little bit of time having a look in here and Googling which battery type you're looking for, because for me LFP was important because I wanted to get 100% of the range out of the car. If you have a different battery type, you'll still get 100% of the range, but it's just advised to charge a little bit less, only to 80% on a daily to weekly basis, whereas for me I can just go straight to 100 without really worrying. I've also got the premium speakers and the full self-driving computer 3, which is, unfortunately, I wish it was the 4, but on this car it only went up to 3 until the newer models. So you can look in this area to sort of check the specifications of your car and see what it is that you're actually buying. The next thing I would recommend is going back into the screen down here to get the menu up, and this one is a bit technical, so really watch here because this is important. You want to go into software, you want to hold this Model 3 here. Once you hold this down for a few seconds, it gets a little bit scary. Now it's going to ask you for an access code. You have to remember this, so when you go in, have a little mental note that this is what you need to do. You're going to type in service. Now this is technically for Tesla, and you will get a big scary screen here that says, you know, don't do this, but you can go into it and it's not a problem. Now if you're looking at the car and you seriously are thinking about buying this is a very useful mode to know. You do not want to be messing around in here, but you are allowed to look. So click on the vehicle info, go to tools and go to alerts and DCs, because this is where the important data is. Now don't get scared by this, because I was when I first came in here. You need to check if you've got any active, I think I had a BMS error or something like that when I originally got this car. It wasn't actually an issue, and I did a lot of research on that. And basically up here you've got your ECUs, and any major errors will be in the active alerts section. Now you don't want an active error in the active alerts section. If there's one in there, you probably should be walking away from the car. And if you're not walking away from the car, you either need to be negotiating very hard, or you need to know what you're talking about, because you cannot buy a car with errors on, because you're going to be having a huge bill. It's not worth it. It usually means there's something relating to the battery management system, which is what BMS means. And if there's something wrong in the battery management system, probably going to be a big bill, or you might need to replace the battery, or something's not going the way it should, and I personally wouldn't want to touch that, and you probably shouldn't either. So if you have alerts in here, you bring that up with your dealer, you say, what the hell is going on here? How do we fix this? What's going on? Now what I did is you can clear the alerts up here. Now the reason I had alerts, and take this on board because it might be relevant to you, because a lot of the used car dealers aren't particularly knowledgeable in electric cars. They didn't charge the car. So when I arrived, it was dead, which means when they turned it back on, there was some active alerts that was the very reason was because the car died. Now, they shouldn't be doing that. And if you're arriving with a dead car, or they're just not caring for the battery, that's not ideal. And that's not really something you should go with. But in my situation, I knew from the photos and from previous visits that it only been dead for less than 24 hours. So once those alerts were resolved and I cleared them, I restarted the car, which you can do, which I'll show you in a moment. And I went on the test drive, I did a few other bits and bobs, played around with the car, checked the sound system. I came back into this setting and there was no alerts. So I did a fairly good test, and then I went away for a week, came back to pick the car up, and there was still no alerts. So I was happy at that point that it was safe to carry on with. But this is definitely a screen you want to check. Now, all of these you do not need to worry about. You can go on Google and you can check them, but most of the time, I mean, these all look fairly normal. I've left a door open, or there's something blocked, or, you know, there's a proximity latch that hasn't quite shut, or these are just weird alerts. They're not things that are broken with the car, so do not think that something's broken. This is just Tesla saying, oh, you were in autopilot and you were trying to accelerate and you shouldn't have been doing that. Or they're just weird. They're more of events rather than alerts. So this is probably the most you need to worry about this screen. Personally, what I did, and if you have access to AI, is I took a picture of every single one of these screens and put it into ChatGPT and just said, is there anything wrong with this car? Please have a look for me. And that did wonders because it put my mind at rest. But you can go into every single one of these screens and you want everything to be green. So we've got everything green here. I was happy. You can go into the sensors. Look at that, nice and green. I was really happy. Forward camera, so you can see the camera on here that it's working. You want to check that. You can check the wide mode. Perfect. So all of these you can go into and you can look at everything in here. Now, you're not going to understand all of it. I don't even understand all of it. But when you're looking at the car, you don't want anything red. You don't want anything scary saying, this isn't working, there's a problem. You know, you can probably go through this and just do a good check. So I'm on 81% battery right now. That's not the battery health. That's just the percentage of the battery, as you can see at the top here. So that looks nice and green, so that makes me happy. And there's loads of other things that you can do in here just to see that it looks okay. And again, if you have access to AI, I found it really useful to just pop in all the photos. I think I took about 25 photos, put them in, and it just tells you, does it look okay? Does this look scary? Or are we good to go? And after these checks, you're going to be happy to purchase your car, or you're going to rightfully walk away from it knowing that this is going to cost you a fortune. So just to go through a few other screens just in case. So these don't look scary to me. It's not ready for a fill, drain or refrigerant. So this is the next thing that I'd probably recommend that you try. So let's do it now. We're going to come out of service mode. So just so you know how to come out of this, in the bottom left corner, you click this little button and you hold it, and eventually it will just pop out of service mode and it's gone. So if you're worried that the dealer's going to catch you doing this and you don't feel like you should be, it's very quick and easy to get out of. But for your peace of mind, personally, I would recommend it, because you need to know if this car is you know, has loads of errors, if there's any problems with it. And for me, I did that and there wasn't any issues. Here, go up here, you can click auto, you can make sure the AC is on, or you can just put it in auto. I just leave it like that. You can drag this all the way across and put it to low and see how long it takes to cool down, because AC is expensive to fix. So I wanted to know it works. Now already for me, it is red hot today. It's 25 degrees and I'm cooking in this car and I can feel that it's cool. Now I've had it on previously, so that's probably why it's this fast. But it should cool you down, or at least start seeing cool air within a minute or two. So you can probably hear that is coming out nice and fast. You can click into here. You can set the cooling to nice and high usually, but I've got it on auto. So see how you can set the levels. really rack it up there and get it going and feel that the air's coming out. Check that everything works and it moves around, you know. You don't want to be buying a car that this stuff doesn't work, because you're going to have a big bill, and Tesla doesn't care if you just bought the car, they're going to need money off you to be able to fix this stuff. So next, what I would personally do is all of the windows, you need to know they work. You need to know the latches work. You need to know that the interior of the car works. Check the horn. You need to check that the things work on the steering wheel. Do these change the volume look? So make sure you're checking that the actual things on the steering wheel work correctly. So when you go up, is the volume moving? When you come over here and click the button, what does it do? Does it enable Tesla? Yes, it does, because now I can talk to the car and then I can disable it. So you want to check the horn, you want to check that the windows work, and you just want to go through methodically and you want to check every single setting on here. It seems trivial, but when you've bought the car, you don't get another chance. Check things like, do the mirrors fold in? So you can very quickly come up here and fold the mirrors, which you can see. They both fold in, and let's unfold them as well. I've got to wait a second, there we go. Perfect. So there's another thing. Now, the other expensive things that you're going to need to check are the glass, because this glass is very expensive to replace, and if there's chips that they're trying to hide from you, you have a big bill, and this is exactly what we're trying to avoid with a used car. So far we've checked the AC, we've checked the windows, we've checked the wing mirrors, we've checked the paint, the wheels, the tyres, and some of the interior bits like the mileage, and we've gone through service mode to make sure there's no active alerts. So the only other bits that you need to worry about at this point are, do the functions of the car function the way that they should? Because if they're not, again, great negotiation point. So you can open the bonnet, you can open the boot, and just check that they work. Are they slow? Are they, not working the way you would expect? Are they, every time that the dealer comes out, are they opening the boot for you? Make sure you can do it from here, from the screen, because I can just click that and it will close for me. Same, well, you have to manually do the frunk, but you can go and check the frunk. I'll do that in a moment. Another really important thing that you need to be aware of is, when you buy a used car, you might not get the same charging infrastructure that you get directly from Tesla. So typically I would say check the frunk and check the boot and the understore storage area before you buy the car, and get a really good idea of what's in the car before you exchange money. Because there might be mats in the car that are included. They might take them out beforehand and try and upsell you mats. So check what's in there. They also might take out charging cables, or they might include charging cables. So you just need to know what you've got, because if it gets removed or it's no longer there the next time you come, you have a photo or something of it to prove that it was in this car. Because the used dealers, a lot of them I'm sure are fantastic, but there are some that have circumstances that mean they get removed and you don't come away with something that probably was yours to begin with. So make sure you have a good check for that. So when you first get access to the car for your test drive, you'll need to know how to open it. So you just pop the key card here on this pillar on the driver's side, and the car will automatically open up. You can let yourself in, and that's pretty much it for access. So when you first get the car, they're going to give you this card key. Now this is how you access the car and how you drive the car. Now initially there's not going to be a driver's profile like you have up here, so you're going to have to use this car to drive, and you're going to have to put it right here. Now once it's there, you should be able to pop your foot on the brake, and there won't be a pin to drive. If there is, you need to talk directly to the person, because it's going to be a difficult thing if they don't know it. But you should be able to just shift into drive and you should be good to go once the key card is there. Now once it's been put into drive, you don't have to keep that here for the whole drive, but why not, eh? Just leave it in a place you can find it. Another good thing that is often overlooked to test is check out the sound system. You can hit this, which is just the sound area. You can go into the stations and you can select whatever station you fancy and just check out if the music's any good.
No one could stand between me and home, not even the gods. Pretty.
So make sure you give the sound system a good go. So you will have your tweeters up here, you'll have your sound system speakers down there, you should have some at the back, round all the way down here, on both sides, and then you've also got your back speakers as well. So give it a good blast and just check that everything's working the way that you hope it does, and if it doesn't sound good, get them to fix it. So when you are considering buying this car and you're going on your test drive, you're going to want to make sure you can actually test the car out and its performance within the bounds of the speed limit and within the bounds of the law. So what you want to do is you want to go over to dynamics over here. Now I have a chill and a standard acceleration mode, but as you can see, I can't click standard mode. Now, depending on how this is set up, you might need to go into safety, scroll down to where it says, where is it? Let me find it. Speed limit mode, and turn that off. Now I have a pin, so I'm going to cut that out. So if I turn that off, now the speed limit mode is off, and I can go into dynamics and I can change between these modes. So now I can go to standard mode, and that will be a lot faster acceleration. And there's also, I think there's a ludicrous mode or a faster mode, depending on if you've got performance, long range, standard range. So give that a try, go on your test drive and pop your foot down a little bit. Turn the radio off and listen for squeaks on the corners of the cars, because if there's anything wrong with the suspension or anything like that, you want to hear it before you've exchanged money. A few other quick things to check is to go back down here, go to, is it service? Yep. And say you want to check the cameras over, you can quickly do the camera preview and you can see every camera in the car, make sure they're working properly, make sure none are dead or looking a bit weird. That's a nice easy quick check you can do. You can also have a look at the maintenance history of the car. So for me, there's probably a few bits here that are overdue that need doing, which is good for me to know. But before you buy the car, if the tyre rotation hasn't been done or the windscreen wiper blades haven't been done, again, get them to do it for you because they want to sell the car. There's a few bits you can ask for and they will do them. So don't be shy about asking, because there's a lot of money for you to purchase this car, and a few windscreen bits and fixing an alloy that they've got access to do quite quickly and easily. It's a lot easier for them than it will be for you. So don't be afraid to ask. Next up would be lights. So very quickly, what I would want to check is you've got your auto lights, which if it's in the daytime, they probably won't be on if the car's not on, but if you want to do a quick walk round and check everything over, click this one to check your daytime running lights. As you can see on the image, the daytime running lights come on, and if you click this one, the main lights, again on the image, come on. Now you can do a walk around the car here and just check they all work, and you can also come up here and check all of your indicators and everything work by clicking that. You'll get the indication on there, and that's a good thing to check as well, just to make sure there's no bulbs that have gone out or there's any problems. And you can get rid of that by either turning it off or clicking auto and making sure this is off. You can also, while we're here, check that your lights work. Now they're not flashing in real life, that's just because of the camera, but it's a good check to make. You don't want these not working. One last thing to consider is panel gaps, because panel gaps are quite notorious, especially on older Teslas. So if you just have a quick walk around the car, look at the panel gaps and just see, compared to the left side and the right side and the front and back, if anything looks majorly off. I don't think a dealer's going to do anything for you here. You might be able to negotiate some money, but they probably won't be able to fix it, but it's worth a try and it's definitely worth a negotiate. The final thing I will say is when you are at a used car dealer, you're probably not going to get thousands knocked off the car, because there is a large amount of people that are looking to buy Teslas. So I would recommend trying to get the most out of the dealer rather than trying to get loads of money wiped off the car. And depending on what the problem is, if it's fixable, if there's, you know, a steering wheel that would cost you £500 with Tesla to get this whole thing replaced, and they're going to do that, that's a lot of value you can get out of the dealer, rather than attempting to sort of say, I want £1,000 off the car or I want £5,000 off the car. Because if you see a load of different things, dealers can do things a lot cheaper than you can. If they're fixing alloys every day, they probably have a department to do that. So if you see problems with the alloy wheels that haven't been addressed, or a dent or a scratch, they might have a detailer in that might be able to fix those things. So get the value from what they can offer you. If there's a mechanical fault that you're happy to go ahead with as long as they fix it, tell them that and make sure they know, you know, you will pay the asking price, but these are the 3 or 4 things that you want to be fixed in order for you to do so. So don't be afraid to do that. Try and get yourself the best deal you can and go and find your Tesla. And honestly, I wish you the best of luck, because it's a fantastic car. You won't be disappointed no matter what you get. As long as you follow these rules, there's no sort of major issues when you drive out of the parking lot from wherever you buy from. You're going to be happy. And I think make sure there's definitely no errors in that service mode. Make sure you don't have any squeaks, and if there is, get them resolved before you actually drive away, and you're going to have a really good ownership journey. So enjoy, and if you have enjoyed this video, drop us a like, drop us a subscribe, and it would really be great for the channel, because we're trying to grow this channel. So hopefully you've got some value out of this, and if you have, and if you do end up buying your Tesla, go down below, pop a comment in what Tesla you bought, or if you found an issue that we've highlighted on here, and I really wish you the best with your new ownership. Cheers, goodbye.